I have a plethora of rights that are granted to me from God, the Human Declaration, from the Constitution, and so forth. I was attacked by some people, and I was protecting
Sir,
my life.
I know you don't want my representation, but I would advise.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
I would
Please
advise
don't.
that you not
Please
talk
don't.
about anything that happened.
Please don't. I have reiterated that Latavius Church Authority is a nonprofit organization. I am not a surety. I am shoulders.
Do you have a medical marijuana card?
Mr. Thornton does not know.
Was the GPS ordered if he was released?
That's not necessary.
No.
I have
Okay.
children.
Just a minute.
This guy, a so-called sovereign citizen, went to court for assaulting 3 police officers. And instead of just answering questions, he starts saying his name is an LLC and that he's innocent. He keeps talking non-stop, rambling the whole time. Honestly, it's hard to tell if he's just delusional or mentally unwell. Watch as this guy completely destroys his own case in court.
I'm Melissa Vachon with the Office of the Public Defender, Your Honor. However, he is declining my representation at this arraignment.
Okay. And Mr. Thornton, could you state your name for the record, please?
I will object to being called Mr. Thornton. I am, for the record, my name is Shoulders. I am here as legal representation for Latavius Church Authority, which is a nonprofit organization.
Your Honor, I'm looking at his file from 2022. I think he was sent to competency back in 2022, and it looks like it's going to be the same issue today. It's my understanding that he might have a bench warrant out for his arrest for sentencing. He pled guilty to, I believe, attempted R&O in November 8th of 2022, but he failed to appear in December 2022. And looking earlier in the files, I believe he was sent to competency as well. And it looks like this is going to be the same issue. So if the court is inclined to send him to competency, I'd ask for that.
Objection again, Your Honor.
Everything comes through me. You're going to get your turn. Okay. But I have to run this in sort of an organized fashion, in part for you, because if you want to appeal, you want a transcript that is coherent and readable. Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't know. Were you speaking to me or
yes,
to
sir.
Mr. A?
Mr. Thornton. So if you want to appeal,
I just want the record to be correct, and there was no objection. There was no objection to the statement that I made about Mr. Thornton, about Latavius Church Thornton being a nonprofit organization, and I was just objecting the points that the attorney prosecutor made.
Okay. But yes, there aren't objections at arraignment. There aren't objections at arraignment. And I am going to call you Mr. Thornton because that is the name that you have been identified as, and that is the name the charges are under. No, Mr. Thornton? So, I mean, the other option is to call you defendant, which is true. You are the person defending yourself, but that sounds kind of rude. So I'd rather call you Mr. Thornton. So I want to make sure that we treat you with as much respect. Here's why we have this hearing. You have, under the Constitution, a Sixth Amendment right to know the charges against you. So we have this hearing for that reason. So I want to make sure that you get all of your rights and know everything that is available to know about this case right now so you can defend yourself. That's the whole purpose today. To give you the information you need so you can defend yourself with or without counsel as you wish, okay? We're going to do 5 things this afternoon. First, I'm going to read the charges against you, including the maximum possible penalties, because you have a right to know them. Second, we're going to talk more about your rights. Then, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. I'll give you the opportunity. Well, no, sir. So just a minute. Okay, so you're going to have the opportunity. You can stand mute or plead not guilty. We'll come to that in a minute, okay? So that's the third thing we're going to do. Then, we're going to talk about dates when you return to court. You're going to get those in writing. Lastly, we're going to talk about bond or bail.
Can I please?
Because here's the thing. I don't want to be disrespectful to you,
Right, absolutely.
I know it feels disrespectful, but here's why. Here's my
Sovereign citizens often don't care about being disrespectful. They act like the court should follow their rules or like they're in a legal drama. Judges should really just tell them to shut up and stop wasting time, especially when the court is trying to move on. Zoom court makes it worse because people think they can act like it's a FaceTime call.
I don't want you to say anything that could come back to haunt you later. So that's why, and this is true of every arraignment I do, I tell people right at the beginning, if you try to speak, I'm going to shut you down. And it's not to be disrespectful, and it's not because the case has already been decided. It's to protect your innocence and your interest going forward. So for that reason, I'm going to do most of the talking here.
That's fine, Your Honor. I'm
Okay,
fine with you doing most of it. But please, to protect my free speech, could you please not mute me? I have no intentions of disrespecting your courtroom. If I speak out of turn, could you just simply let me know? And
okay.
I am aware that I am innocent until proven guilty, and that something I say could, like you said, come back and haunt me. I'm well aware of that for Latavius Treshaw Thornton. However, I do still need to express correctly, and if I'm capable of settling this matter now, why can't we do that? I have more than just the Sixth Amendment right. I have a plethora of rights that are granted to me from God, the Human Declaration, from the Constitution, and so forth. There's a plethora of rights that have been granted onto me. So I don't just want to rely on the few far in between. I would like to rely on all my rights and abilities, and if possible, take care of all these matters in the most dignified and respectful way to keep the court's dignity and my dignity as a man. And furthermore, as a preservation of my innocence, I would like, until proven guilty, I believe that is pertinent that the innocent factor be imminent here.
Absolutely. So here's what I'm going to tell you. And I tell this to everyone at this stage. The most important thing I can tell you this afternoon is that you are innocent. You are innocent unless you remain innocent, unless at some point you plead guilty or are found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. And I say unless for a reason, because it's different than until. And now I'm going to read the charges against you because you have a right to know them. Okay? You can't really defend yourself unless you know what you're accused of. Maybe you remember being a little kid and going to the principal's office and not knowing what you might be in trouble for. No? Okay. Well, you were probably a better little kid than I was. But I'm going to read the charges against you. It's going to take some time reading all the way through them.
Before you get to reading, can I make one statement, please?
Well,
Your Honor?
You can, but let me read through these first, okay? Let me read through these first because I want to make sure I cover everything. The other thing is judges use scripts. And the reason we use scripts is to make sure everyone gets all of the information and to make sure we treat everyone the same.
I'm aware of that, Your Honor. And that is why I feel it necessary for me to make certain things known for Latavius Treshaw Thornton, for that the script so we can stay in honor. Once again, I have no intentions on dishonoring the courts. I'm even here to surrender all of the interests of Latavius Treshaw Thornton to the courts. I have those full intentions. And so that you guys can be safe from all liability of Latavius Treshaw Thornton as his representation. That is the only reason why I speak in the way of please refrain from calling me Mr. Thornton and certain things, because it's pertinent for you guys to know I've already been treated as the surety. I am not the surety. I'm really shoulders. Like, if you guys meet my people, you will find out I'm really shoulders. Latavius Treshaw Thornton is really a nonprofit organization, and I am not a surety for it. And it is a company, and it does not profit. So with that information, I understand that the script goes a little different, and I understand that I understand me now, I have the right to let it be known that I'm not the surety and nobody has, I'm sorry, and.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
Your Honor. Here's the thing. That's okay.
This guy says, my name is Shoulders. Trust me. Like, what? The law doesn't care about nicknames or what you call yourself. You have to use your real name. The judge is just letting him ramble like it's an open MIC night. It's embarrassing for everyone listening. At this point, it's almost comical.
9th, 2025, at Cary Street and Lake Lansing Road in the city of Lansing, zip code 48912. You did assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Kayla Bevere, a police officer with the East Lansing Police Department, that the defendant knew or had reason to know was performing his or her duties, contrary to Michigan law MCL 750.81D1. This is a felony, punishable by up to 2 years in prison and/or $2,000 in fines. In count 2, you are accused of assaulting, resisting, or obstructing a police officer, again, on or about March 9th, 2025, at Cary Street and Lake Lansing in the city of Lansing, zip code 48912. Specific allegation is that you did assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Chris Shattuck, a police officer with the East Lansing Police Department, that the defendant knew or had reason to know was performing his or her duties, contrary to Michigan law MCL 750.81D1. This is, again, a felony, punishable by up to 2 years in prison and/or $2,000 in fines. Lastly, in count 3, you are accused of, again, assaulting, resisting, or obstructing a police officer. And the specific allegation is that on or about March 9, 2025, at Cary Street and Lake Lansing Road in the city of Lansing, zip code 48912, you did assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Colin Lemire, a police officer with the East Lansing Police Department, that you knew or had reason to know was performing his or her duties, contrary to MCL 750.81D1. This is, again, a felony, punishable by up to 2 years in prison and/or $2,000 in fines. Now, how do you wish to plead?
I don't, you said a lot, so can I address them part for part first?
No, not right now. So here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna enter. I'm gonna enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, and here's why.
Can I ask you this first? Before you enter that plea? If me giving you a plea right now, will that be in response to everything that you just said?
Nope. So a plea would have you pleading, would have you pleading guilty to all those charges. We've got some back and forth here. It kind of sounds like we're underwater. So a plea would have you pleading guilty to those crimes, 3 felonies, without having seen the evidence against you. So you can stand mute and the court enters a not guilty plea, or you can say you want to plead not guilty and you would be not guilty. Then what happens next, and here's why, then you have a chance to get the evidence against you and to consider it, among other things.
It's a bit more to it, Your Honor. That's the issue. So based off of the things that you stated, that's not what my understanding is. From my understanding is I was attacked by some people and I was protecting.
Sir, I know you don't want my representation, but I would advise.
No, ma'am.
I would advise that you not talk about anything that happened.
The prosecution is probably thrilled because this guy clearly needs a lawyer. Showing up and ranting about innocence isn't how court works. He should have at least talked to a lawyer first. This kind of behavior makes you wonder if he's delusional, in denial, or just ego-driven. Then he goes on, repeating that his shoulders and part of a non-profit, claiming he was assaulted and trying to mix it into his case. The judge finally sets some dates and explains the bond process. The judge decides on a $10,000 bond and lists rules. No leaving Michigan without permission, no crimes, no drugs, no weapons, and no contact with certain people. He also gets instructions on notifying the court about address or phone changes. Even after all this, the guy still acts like claiming his an LLC will help him. It's clear he doesn't understand how the legal system works. Most likely, he's looking at serious prison time for assaulting officers. Stay tuned for part 2, because this case is only going to get crazier. Honestly, watching stuff like this makes you wonder how society has gone from major tech advances to people thinking I don't consent in court is a legal argument.